Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Fabio Di Bello, and I'm Customer Training Manager at Wiley, and I'm very pleased to be with such a large audience. We are still waiting for some of you to connect. In the meantime, I'd just like to go through some of the functions in GoToWebinar platform for those of you who hasn't got experience with the platform. So first of all, I'd like to tell you that this session is being recorded, and you will all receive an email within 24 hours containing the link to the recorded session, as well as a certificate of attendance. So please, if you don't receive an email within 24 hours, check your spam folder in case it's gone to the spam folder, or send me an email at fdballo@wiley.com, and I'll be more than happy to provide you with the email containing the link. We also, of course, there are too many people in order for this session to be interactive. So you can ask a question, and you're very welcome to ask questions by clicking on the arrow here menu in the control panel. And you can see here that there is a question panel here on the right-hand side. So if you click on questions, you can write your question here. And I and Mohammed, who is actually behind the scenes running the event with me, will be more than happy to check the questions, and we'll allocate 10 minutes at the end of the session for answering all of your questions, possibly. Last thing we also did is we made the slides that I'm using today, available here on the handout section. So if you click on handouts, you'll be able to see the slides, and you'll be able to download the PDF version of the slides today. I think I said it all. Remember, to let me know if you don't receive the email, because the email also contains the certificate of attendance. So but it normally works very fine. And also the people who didn't manage to attend the meeting will receive an email anyway containing the link to the recorded session. All right, I think we can start the session right now, and this is the agenda for today. I'd like to go through the main features and functionalities of the Wiley Online platform, which hosts all of the content that your institution has subscribed with Wiley. I'm going to be particularly focusing on searching content, browsing, using Boolean operators, so basically building up more advanced and precise searches. I'm going to be showing you how to do that on the platform. I'm also going to be showing you how to cite, how to submit a manuscript to a journal, in case you intend to publish one of your research papers. And I'm going to be also be showing you where to find the submission on author guidelines, and also how to set up alerts, journal alerts, content alerts, citing alerts, and so on. Before we do that, let me just run a couple of polls with you, because I need to, understand your level of familiarity with the Wiley Online Journal platform. So I would be very grateful if you could answer the first question. So how often do you use Wiley Online Library? Thank you for responding. That's really useful for me to gather an insight on how much time I need to spend on the basic functions, and how often do you use it. Makes me understand the kind of alerting features that I might be able to focus in. I'm giving you some more seconds to vote. 43% of you have voted so far. Right. All right, so let me just project the results and that we have gathered. So 37% of you have never accessed Wiley Online Library, which is good because that's why we are here for. And the rest, has a certain usage, and 18% of you really use it weekly. So you're supposed to have a good experience. I hope you appreciate this session, and I hope you can learn some more new functionalities and new things that you didn't know before. All right, that's great. So let me just launch the second question, actually, which is this one here. Have you ever published a manuscript on a journal? I know there are a mixed audience here. There are students, librarians, scientists, researchers. So I'd like to understand, your level of experience with the publication process. Thank you so much for collecting, you're answering in great numbers. Thank you so much. I'm giving you some more time to answer. All right. That's an interesting question because we're going to be speaking about, how to publish effectively and what are the types of mistakes that should be avoided when you submit a manuscript for publication. Great. So 60% of you have voted, have answered. So let me just close the survey and let me just share the results. So hope you can see the results. 24% of you have never published a manuscript. 27% of you have never published manuscripts, but is planning to. That's very important because I hope you will find this session useful. And I hope, I wish you success with publication. I will be talking about some tips and what are the major stumbling blocks at the end of the session. And the rest of you, nearly 50% of you, have experience in publication, just 6% with Wiley and 42% with other publishers. That's great. Well, thank you so much for responding. Let's now move straight into the core of this presentation. First of all, just a small recap about Wiley, who we are. We're a very old company, founded over 200 years ago by Charles Wiley, and we still have descendants of the family, the Charles Wiley family running the business. We serve a huge customer base, so millions of downloads per day, millions of researchers all around the world. Our core element is to establish partnerships with the world international leading scientific societies. As a matter of fact, more than half of the peer-reviewed journals that we publish are edited in collaboration with scientific societies. We're also very proud to say that over 400 researchers who published their work with Wiley were awarded with Nobel Prize. Now, let's talk about content. What type of content will you be accessing when logging into Wiley Online platform? The core element is journals. So we have over 8 million articles across 1,600 peer-reviewed journals, spanning and touching all subject categories. Besides journals, we also offer access to the back files. We have nearly 3 million articles that have been digitalized, and they are now accessible in the Wiley Online Library. We have over nearly 300 years of coverage for some journals. Now we are increasing the digitalizations of online books. We have now reached the number of 24,000 books that are available, as well as the journals. We have over 250 reference works. And the good thing of the Wiley Online Library is that when you search using the keywords, you can search the entire database, the entire set of content, including current protocols, the Wiley digital archives, and the EBM databases, the evidence-based medicine databases. Okay, so it's really one-stop shop where you can find all of this content and can search and retrieve results coming from all these repositories. Talking about subject coverage, I'm going to be showing you later on when I connect to the Wiley Online library. So basically, we're going to perform a live demo. You can browse across the multidisciplinary collection, and we have 126 subcategories. So you can easily find the topics you are interested in. And just talking about benefits, well, Wiley contains high quality scientific content. So using the library and searching keywords or topics can really help you stay up to date with what is published in your area of expertise, and also discover trends in content that might help define your own research or manuscript. So we'll be seeing afterwards how you can use the Wiley Online library platform for current awareness, creating specific alerts, different types of alerts, which will really make you be on the ball and for any discovery that happens in the world of research. Now, I would like to actually connect online right now. I will invite those of you who have a double screen to connect alongside with me and run the searching with me. The most important thing I'd like to do right now is to give you everything that you need to know in order to make the most out of the Wiley Online library platform. So starting from the beginning. First of all, this is the landing page once you have logged in from your library portal. So I understand that there are many, many different organizations and research institutions that belongs to the high Education Council in Pakistan. So check with your library manager what is the best route to connect to Wiley Online library. This here is the URL, the general URL, where everybody in the world can connect to Wiley Online library. So one thing that I would recommend to all of you before you actually start searching and accessing the content is login, register. So if you click on login, register, you can create your personal profile. So if you click on new user, you can actually create your personal profile with your personal information, and you'll be able to create your personal account. And so that basically you will be able to store and save all the searches, create all the alerts that are relevant for you, and create your kind of personal library with all the content that is really relevant for your researchers. So you'll see here now I have logged in with Fabio. I created my username and password, and I invite you to do that when you are logged in from the library portal, from the library IP range, so that we can store your authentication path, and therefore you'll be able to access the contents, the subscribed content, also when you are at home and when you are outside the VPN connection. So that's one advantage, and we keep the authentication stored for 6 months. All right, so when you connect and when you create your personal login, you'll see here that's Fabio. If you click on your name, you'll be able to see my account. Let me just log in again. I just got timed out. So besides your personal information, on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the navigation panel. And here you will see all your alerts. And you click on Manage Alerts, and you'll be able to see all the new content alerts and the citation alerts. and you can see you can manage all of them, delete them, edit them. You can see the publication when you actually created the alert. The difference between citation alerts and content alerts is, content alerts means that you are monitoring journals. So these are the list of the journals that I'm monitoring. And anytime there is a new article, a new content being published, being available on one of these journals, I'll be alerted by email. And you can see here, you can choose the frequency of update. Okay. Whereas citation alerts, it means that I'm tracking the citations that someone do on other articles. So these are the articles that I'm citing. Someone publishes an article that cites one of these articles, I'll be notified by email. Okay, so that's the difference. Then you can see your favorites. So your articles that you simply bookmark them. And here you can see your saved searches. So all the searches that you created and that you can run them anytime you wish. And you can see here a button for deleting the search. So once again, that's a very handy way to not having to create searches once, all over again, and just having a centralized spot that contains all of the searches that are important for you. So let's go back to the landing page. And let's start with the browsing function, which is the easiest way to browse content. So you can see here the subjects, and you can see here that there are some macro category. You can expand. If you click on the arrow button, you can expand a topic, like for instance, medicine. You can see what are the subtopics. So if you're interested in exploring oncology and radiotherapy, you click on oncology and radiotherapy, and you can actually retrieve the most recent articles, the most cited articles. You can filter the most cited. You can actually click on the title and visualize the metadata and the full text of the article. So for instance, if you want to visualize this one here, so you click on the title and you open up the article journal, where you can see the title, the authors, the DOI, and the abstracts. You have a tab, sections that will allow you to go straight into the section that you're interested in. Or alternatively, you can use the functions, the menu here that you can see on the top of the screen, and there are 4 other functions here on the right-hand side panel that you can use here. So we'll see each of them. Well, PDF is quite self-explanatory. You can download the PDF file and can share it. And if you click on Tools, you'll be able to do a lot of things here. First of all, if you need to use some of the content in the public, in the manuscript, and you want to, you need this content for one of your research paper, you can click on Request Permission, and you can land on the permission form that you must fill in order to get the authorization from the author, from the publisher, to use the content, the materials within the journal. Now, if you need to export a citation, if cite this article in one of your research paper, you can just simply copy and paste this chapter here. So this is exactly how to cite this journal article. You can also download the citation, and you can see here the formats that are available for download and the type of import. So you can download in EndNote, for instance, and click download. Going back to the tools section, you can also add it to favorite. and you can click on track citation. So if you click on track citation, you'll be landing on your account on the citation alerts section. And so you'll be able to now track this article in terms of citations. Let's go back. And you see here this button, share. So this button will allow you to share this journal article with social media. So I don't know what kind of social media is most used in Pakistan, but there are a number of social media that are available for sharing this article in case you want to boost the visibility and create more impact. I really recommend you to make use of this functionality. Then in the right-hand side, you'll see a panel which contains a number of tabs. The first one is related. You can see all highly related articles based on relevancy and pertinency. So all articles that are highly related to this one. We'll provide a link to the references. So here you will be able to see all the references articles. All of the articles are hyperlinked. So you'll see here that if there is an article that is being asked in one of the ANI databases, you can just click on the PubMed version or the Google Scholar and you'll be able to see and access the record in the external database. Now, there are databases that are free of charge, like PubMed, Google Scholar, and other databases that are not free of charge and require a subscription from your institution. So please check with your institution whether you have access to other full fee databases like Web of Science or Chemical Abstract Society. Because of course, if you don't have a subscription, you have a paywall and you will not be able to actually open up the entire record in the external database. Now, with regard to figures, if you click on figures, you'll be able to open up each figure in Figure Viewer, or you can be able to download the figure in PowerPoint. So that's quite handy because if you click on PowerPoint, you'll just have the figure formatted as well as the citation, ready to be imported in a PowerPoint. Right, I'm having just some difficulties with my internet connection. The last thing which is really useful is information. If you click on information, you'll be able to see in a minute when here it is, the number of citations and a button which is the altmetric score. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with altmetric. Altmetrics is an alternative way to measure impact and citations. So we have the traditional citations and we have the citations on the social media. We call them mentions. So you'll see here, if you mouse over, you'll see that this specific article has been cited in blogs, in social media, has been tweeted many times, or has been referenced in other external sources. So if you want to visualize the details and access the page, you can click on some details and up the altmetrics. Sorry if it's short, but there are many of you connected. There are 354 people connected, so to slow down, but this is what you get. So you can see here, you open up the Twitter demographics and you'll see where and who's tweeted using this article. You'll also be able to see the geographical breakdown and the demographic breakdown. Same thing for monthly readers, and same thing, with the attention score in context. You'll be able to see how many times this article has been used in Twitter. And finally, the attention score in context. That's an algorithm that measures the high-level quality and quantity of online attention that this specific article has received. So you can see here this out, and you can see how the article positions itself. You see here that it's the top 5% of all research houses ever tracked by Altmetric. So here you have tabs that will allow you to actually visualize the news that has cited this article, the blogs, the policy documents. So like, for instance, guidelines that have used these specific articles, or patents, if there's a patent that have cited or have mentioned this specific article, and so on. If you click on more, you'll be able to see other sources like videos, for instance, YouTube videos. And we monitor a huge number of sources. So the whole idea here is to make sure that you'll be able to see what is the impact that this article is generating in the external world besides journals. All right, so going back to summary, you'll be able to see here one button that will allow you to alert you about new mentions. So if this article is very important for you, or if you are the author of this article, you want to be alerted when someone cites or mentions your article in one of these sources. So if you click on alert me when about new mentions, you'll be able to create your email address. Right, so if you enter your email address and you click on start notifying, then anytime that someone mentions this article, you'll get an email and you'll know straight away, and you can interact and check how and why this person has mentioned the article, and you can basically contribute to boosting the visibility of the article by making comments or sharing the comments with someone else, and so increase in determining high resonance of this article. All right, let's go back to the article journal that we were seeing before. Okay, let me see. Thank you for your patience. It's, there are so many people connected in GoToWebinar. It's to basically slow down and eat bandwidth. All right. So, thank you so much for your patience. I know it can be kind of annoying to wait this kind of long times. All right, so we were just basically browsing topics. We were browsing oncology and radiology, and you can see here the most recent articles and the most cited articles. One that you may not be familiar with is this tag here: full access, open access, free access. You see here, so you have padlock icons that is telling you what kind of article this is. When you find full access, it means that the article is being published in a subscription-only journals. And this means that readers must have a subscription in order to read and access the full text. Or readers must pay a download fee in order to download the full text of the articles. When you find open access, it means that this article is being published in an open access journal. So those are journals that do not require a subscription and that are freely available to everyone in the world with no subscription, no paywall, so there's nothing to be paid. But authors are required to pay an APC, which is an article publication charge. So authors must pay a certain amount of dollars in order to publish onto these open access journals. And finally, if you see free access, like for instance, the articles that we have opened before, you see this free access. It means that journal is subscriptional. So theoretically, you would have to pay to download, but the publisher has decided to make this article free to read. So it's a publisher decision to basically make an article freely available. But the article, so the journal where the article is being published, is actually a subscription journal. Now, we have seen how to read a journal article. We have seen before the functionalities that are available when you are at the journal level. We can see how to share, how to request permission, how to cite an article, how to view the references, how to import images. Now let's see what you can do when you are at the journal level. So this is an article, okay, and you'll see here that's the image of the journal, volume 61, issue 6. You can now click on the icon of the journal and enter and browse the actual journal. And when you do that, you'll be able to see the functionalities that are available at the journal. So, title, a cancer journal for clinicians. The publisher is the ACS, the American Cancer Society. I apologize for the slowness, of the connection, but here you'll be able to see some tabs that will allow you to do a lot of things. First of all, click on About. Well, if you click on About, you'll be able to see a set of important elements. Seeing that, okay, you see, overview is important because it will basically contain aims and the scope of the journal. So I'm not doing that because I can see that it's too slow now. But if you click on Overview, the first thing that you'll see is aims and scope of the journal. And you must make sure when you submit an article to this journal that the aims and the scope of the journal matches the aim and the scope of your article. Another thing that is really important before submitting your article to this journal is click on Contribute, and the first item is Author Guidelines. So when you click on All Guidelines, you open up the page that contains all the requirements in terms of formatting, editing, figure formatting, and how you should basically present the article to the journal in order for the article to be accepted. So I would advise you to really follow the author guidelines strictly. And here you can see how to do that, how you can prepare the references, how you should basically enter the keywords, how you should make acknowledgements, and so on. The figures, how you should actually format the figures, and everything that is being required. So once again, you may not want to incur into mistakes and get your article to be rejected or resent back for revision just because you have missed out on some of these requirements. Now, I understand that this might be paid for you to follow all of these requirements. I will mention later on that we do offer some services like Wiley editing services and Wiley author services, where you can find all the help you need in order to make sure that your articles follow the author guidelines and that everything is all right for the acceptance. Another button which is interesting is Browse. So I was mentioning to you earlier that we offer the entire back file of the journals that we have digitalized. So you can browse the early view, the current issue, but also all issues. So the entire archive of the journals for those journals where the archive is available. So in this case, you can see the issue archive available here on the left-hand side panel, and you can see here that you can browse all issues up to volume 1, issue 1, which is as far back as the 1950. And you can choose the volume of your interest and open up the journal and the articles within the journals. Now, you can see here 2 buttons, submit an article. So if you wish to submit an article, that's the button you have to click, and get content alerts. If you remember, when I connected to my account, I showed you 2 types of alerts, content alerts and citation alerts. So content alerts means that if you click on the bell, you'll be able to monitor every article that is being published on this journal. And every time a new article is available on this journal, you'll be notified by email. And you see here now, we are now landing on my account, Fabio, and on my content alerts. So you'll be able to basically manage. You remember, these are the alerts that I set up for myself. So you will now see American Cancer Society Journal alert here. All right. So we see here what you can do when you are at the journal level, now into ACS journals. One thing that you start in here is a search functionality. So you can enter keywords, and here you can see that you can choose where to search your keywords. So you can search in this specific journal, or in the ACS journals, or in the entire Wiley Online library. So for instance, I can just type in a disease, like in this case, Crohn, and decide to search the Crohn disease just into this specific journal. And click on the lens and Crohn just in the cancer journal for clinicians. Or you can extend the search to the entire library. So you can see here, when you're doing a search in a specific journal, you see here apply filters. It shows up the name of the journal where you are searching the keyword, and then you retrieve journal type, the journal matches, the journal article that matches your keyword. Right. Let me just make a quick pause right now. I just want to check Mohammed if everything is going well. If Mohammed, do you have any troubles hearing me, or is there any specific issue so far that needs to be addressed?
All good, Fabio. Away from its connection a bit slow, but everything is good. Screen and voice is good. So yeah, we can continue.
Sure. Why the connection is? I'm just checking what's a problem with my landline, or that's just a problem with GoToWebinar, because sometimes. So sorry if I'm doing an experiment online. I just want to check whether this is my problem. Wow, all right. Because I realized that webinar sometimes tends to sound the connection. All right, it's perfect. I will turn my camera right now because I wanna can follow me. So I'm turning my camera off. So I'm sorry for that, but I need to make sure that you can all see me, see what I'm doing, and you can the presentation. Mohammed, is it better now that I turn my camera off?
I think it's getting better, Fabio. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for this feedback, Mohammed. So let's go back to the landing page. So far we have seen how to browse content. Okay, we have seen how to visualize an article, how to visualize a journal, how to browse journal articles. Let's see now how to search specific content. So let's start with, for instance, you would like to access a specific journal. So the quickest way you can do to access a journal is type in the journal name. So for instance, I want to access the Journal of Neuroscience Research. You see here that when I type in, I can see an automatic search suggestion, which is basically, let me see. All right, you see here that we have an automatic search suggestion which tries to help you create the best search. So it's telling you, do you want to search everything, or do you want to search for a specific journal? And it's just giving you the number, the types, the journals that contain your keywords. So you click on Journal of Neuroscience Research. You just open up the journal, and you can see pretty much all the tabs and the functionalities that we've seen before. Okay. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention is that when you open up the journal, you'll be able to see the impact factor. So you know straight away, what type of authority journal has in terms of impact factor. You do the same with a book, or if you want to search for specific keyword in the entire library, I'm gonna be showing you how to do that, and we'll be showing you the rules. So you can search for global warming And one thing that I would suggest you to do is to add brackets, because when you search for global warming, it will search global and warming anywhere in the journal article. Whereas if you want to be more precise, eliminate noise, you can just add the brackets. Global warming will be searched in continuity, so just global next to warming. And then you can see here that you get a number of results that are broken down by type. So you'll see here how many articles and book chapters are being retrieved. The collections are the reference works, okay? And the publications are actually full online books. So you can use filters, and you can see here on the left-hand side, you have a number of filters you can use to narrow down search results. So you can use publication types, publication date. You can use open access status that will allow you to access just the open access journals. You don't need any subscription. And then you can use subjects to further refine and use the subject topics, the subject categorizations, and that will really allow you to be more precise. So if you're interested in agriculture, you can see a subcategorization. You can actually narrow down results by subtopics. Now, this is quite easy. It's quite intuitive. Let's see how you can build up a more complex search using more key terms combined with Boolean operators. So if you want to use more key terms, more search terms, I would advise you to click on Advanced Search. You click on here, you'll be able to basically build up a query that contains more terms together. Here on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the search tips. So for instance, you'll be able to see how to use the Boolean operators. And remember, the Boolean operators must be used in capital letter. Or if you want to use the wildcards, you know how to do that. I give you an example. You can basically combine more terms together, like for instance, artificial intelligence, and use not as the Boolean operator, which excludes machine learning from the articles that you want to be retrieving. And you can click on here anywhere, on the search field. You can choose where to find the search terms. So if you leave anywhere, it will search the search terms in the title, in the abstract, in the keywords, and also in the full text of the article. You can also combine more terms together, and for instance, combining abstract, and also, for instance, combine it with author affiliation. So, for instance, if you're interested on all the records and all the studies that have been published by Pakistani affiliations, so you can enter Pakistan, for instance, and choose author affiliation here. Okay, and then you can run the search by clicking on search button. And you see here that you intercept the results that are just coming from Pakistani institutions, so institutions that are located in Pakistan. Click on Refine Search. You have an opportunity to refine your search. So, for instance, you can change here the search field, or you can choose here instead of author affiliation, you can basically choose funding agencies, like for instance, and run the search. You can go to search history, and here you find all the searches that we have carried out chronologically. or you can basically save this search. So if you click on Save Search, you'll then find this search I don't know, AI in Pakistan. And you can basically decide how frequently you want this search to be updated for you. You can click on Save Search. And now you'll find this search into your Saved Searches section into your account here. All right, so it's 9:51, so it means like we have 9 minutes left. And I want to now check with Mohammed, and it is now time for questions and answers. Any questions?
We have actually different questions about the way of accessing the content from Wiley. If you don't mind, I can just give a hint about this, because like as everyone knows that like universities under the HEC, they are getting or granted an access for Wiley content. So I think like Fabio mentioned at the beginning of the session, that the best thing to do is to check with your librarian at your organization in order to know what is the best way, like if there is any specific credentials or specific like username and password that you can use to access Wiley content through the university portal.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you. One thing that I would like to mention before we wrap up and close this session is I mentioned to you earlier that if you need any help during the publication process, we have two websites, two services. The first one here is Wiley Author Services. You see here, authorservices.wiley.com. That's free of charge. You don't need to pay anything. And here you will see four tabs. Find a journal for your search. This basically contains a software which is in beta version, a software which will be able to upload your manuscript and suggests the best journals that match the aims and the scope of your articles. Get help with preparing your manuscript, so we can give you the best tips on how to prepare your manuscript, how to avoid mistakes. If you want to learn more about open access and open research, that's also a very useful link. And also all the ways that all the tools that you can use to promote your article once that your article has been published. So that's free of charge, and that's Wiley Author Services. Each of you must create a profile when you need to submit your article to any of the journal articles that are published by Wiley. Now, the other site that I would like to share with you is Wiley Editing Services. So Wiley Editing Services at just wileyeditingservices.com will allow you to actually get a professional, high quality service for fee. So there is a price that is associated to each service. And you see here two types of services: article preparation services, where you can find English language editing or academic translations, a lot of services that will really support you throughout the entire process from writing to submission. And then we have article promotion services that will help you disseminate, increase impact and visibility of your article. So if you go to services and you click on English language editing, you can see how it works. There are different types of services. You can click on the type of services you need, and you can actually get a quote online by uploading your manuscript and you get a quote online. You can place the order directly using your funds or you see here, that's a button that will allow you to upload the documents, and you can also choose the delivery time. That will also affect price, of course. So that's something really useful. There are some that shows you that the authors that have used Wiley editing services have a higher acceptance rate and a higher impact once that their articles are published. So feel free to just use them. And finally, I'd like to just share with you that we have a customer site called Customer Success Hub, where you can actually find a lot of training guides and videos. Plus, you can register for the upcoming and on-demand webinars. These are the links that you can use to do that. And for any other questions or follow-up, you can just email me at FTVal. Sorry, forget about this one here, because this is relevant for your area. So you can follow up with me, and I'll be more than happy to reply.
Fabio, sorry to interrupt, but there is a couple of questions about downloading the articles, if you can just highlight it more. So the questions here is about which type of articles can be downloaded. Is it the articles only being subscribed by the university, or is there any other type of articles that can be downloaded from Wiley Online Library?
That's a very good question. Thank you so much. Well, I showed you before that you can download all articles that are published in open access journals. Okay. Since in Wiley, we have over 450 open access journals. And so the open access journals require no subscription. Okay. And if the journal is a subscription-only journal, you can only access the full text if your institution, the institution you are affiliated with, has a subscription to the journal. So it depends on your institution's entitlements. And then, I showed you before that there are icons. When you check out a search, you have different icons that tell you if the article is an access, if it is a free access, or if it is a subscription only journals. And so if you see this icon, full access, it means that your institution has a subscription to the journal, and therefore you will be able to download the full text. If you don't see this icon, full access, it means that you can only visualize the metadata, but you will not you'll not be able to open up the full text unless you pay a download fee. I hope it makes sense.
If there is another room for one last question, Fabio, there is one quick question. It's more related to the editing services. So does the DUHS has an agreement with Wiley for editing services, or maybe we have any other party for editing services that we are dealing with as a Wiley?
Well, I'm not sure. We need to check with your account manager. Normally, I mean, as far as I know, there is no normally consortia doesn't make agreement for Wiley editing services fees. They do make agreements for funding the APC for the open access journals. So we call them transformative agreements. I don't know if Pakistan, the EUC Pakistan is actually in the process of making the assessment of finalizing this agreement, but basically this agreement allows researchers to publish their articles in the open access journals free of charge without having to pay. So they create a central fund that funds the cost of publication in the open access journals. Theoretically, the council could also make an agreement for funding all the other costs related to publishing, like Wiley editing services. But as far as I know, we haven't done along this route yet, so we haven't done any agreement so far. So this means that you'll have to pay the fees separately, using your credit cards or other deposits within your institutions. So Mohammed, thank you so much for this additional question. Is there any other question?
No, I think we are good. So we almost answered all the questions here. Thank you so much, Fabio.
Well, it was a great pleasure. I really hope this session was useful for you. I wish all of you success with your research, with your publications, and hope to see you again in one of our forthcoming webinars. Thank you so much for your patience and attention. Thank you, Mohammed. I will now close the session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.